Okay, time to go get the kids. This is for them. Well, hello there,
Hi, guys.
everyone. We are so glad you're here. We are excited to be here, and
Yes.
we are finishing up our Armor of God series. So, we have been talking about this for several weeks, and we have talked about the helmet of salvation, the shield of faith, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the Spirit. I almost forgot the belt of truth. Remember, we're getting our truth on, and the breastplate of righteousness, and the shoes of the peace of the gospel. Now, a lot of this is kind of confusing because, we get things like God's righteousness and his word and all these different things, but all of it kind of comes down to faith. And we talked about how we don't actually have the physical armor on. And that is going to bring us to our Bible story for today. And our Bible story is David and Goliath. And Miss Cindy is going to read a David and Goliath book for you.
So you're telling me, Miss Terry, that like I was looking at this poster and I like this kid's armor because it doesn't look very heavy. I don't think it would make me sweat. But it also doesn't look like it would really protect me. So I don't have to wear the actual metal stuff.
Absolutely not. And you know what? In our
Okay,
story,
yes.
you're going to see
That's
that
right.
the actual heavy stuff did not help
Can't protect
Goliath.
from God. Right.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to read this story called David and Goliath. One day, young David was looking after the sheep when he heard his father calling. "Take this bread and cheese to your brothers," said his father. David's 3 older brothers were away fighting in King Saul's army. So he took the bundle and David set out on his way. King Saul's army was camped on a hillside. On the other hillside, the Philistine army had gathered. It was an amazing sight. Wow, see, they're like right. David searched among the lines of Saul's soldiers, and he soon found his 3 brothers. Just then, a giant soldier stepped forward from the Philistine army. He was so tall that he towered over everyone else. He roared, "I am Goliath, tall and mighty. Who is brave enough to fight me?" And not one of King Saul's soldiers replied. They were afraid. The soldiers talked among themselves. "The king will give us a big prize to whoever kills the mighty Goliath." Well, who's doing it? What's going on? Like nobody wanted to do it. Way off in the distance, because he was going home, David said, "Hey, what's going on?" And his brother said, "It's nothing to do with you, little brother. You're just a boy. You go home and look after the sheep." But David didn't go home. He went to King Saul in his tent and he said, "I'll fight the giant. I've killed a lion and a bear that tried to attack my sheep." David said, "I wasn't afraid because God looked after me. But you're just a little boy, and he's a big giant." So King Saul gave David a helmet, some armor, and a sword. And when David put them on, they were much too big. He tried walking around the tent, and he said, "I can't wear these. I'm not used to them." So he took it all off. Instead, David took his sling and his pouch and went down to the stream where he found 5 smooth stones, and he put them in his pouch. "My sling is all I need to fight the lion and the bear," he thought. "God will look after me." He has faith. David went down to meet Goliath. The giant towered over him and roared, "I am Goliath, tall and mighty. Who is brave enough to fight me?" And David looked up and said, "I am." "Will you fight me with that stick?" laughed Goliath. He was very angry. Goliath lumbered towards David, and David grabbed a stone from his pouch and he put it in the sling. Goliath waved his sword up in the air, and David let that stone fly. The stone hit Goliath right in the middle of his forehead, and he crashed to the ground, the one place that wasn't covered with armor. King Saul's army cheered. "The mighty Goliath is dead," they cried, and the whole Philistine army ran away, chased by all King Saul's soldiers. And David was a hero. A little boy with no armor, but he had God.
and God was his armor. So, the armor that God gives us is basically our faith.
It's knowledge
Yes.
of what God can do, and then the faith comes in because we have to believe it.
That's right. So, how do we actually get that? How do we get faith?
Yeah, you can't go to a store and buy it.
No. And you can't put it on. You can't
No.
put your faith hat on.
Oh, wouldn't that be great though?
So the armor that God gives us comes from lots of different sources.
Yep.
So I have a little demonstration here. This is an orange, and I've listed the things on here that help us with faith.
Help
And
our
if
faith
we
grow.
do or don't do these things, we can lose our faith. So the first one on here is if we forget to pray.
Oh gosh, you can't forget to talk to God.
That's right. So that takes part of our armor off. If we don't read our Bible,
No,
it's
that's
hard
where
to know
all-
who God is.
Yes, that's where all the knowledge is.
Yeah. What about not going to worship?
Or just worshiping yourself. Like sometimes a worship song speaks to me. Yeah, worship. You can do that everywhere.
And sometimes we worship other things.
Yes.
Like sports. Sometimes soccer or baseball or swimming or different things are more important than going to worship.
A pastor years ago here named Pastor Ecke used to say he didn't understand why people get so excited at a football game but then sit on their hands in church.
Yeah.
Jesus is something to get excited about.
That's exactly right. This one is a really big one because this is something that everybody can do right now. It's Sunday school. So not going to Sunday school, you're not learning about God.
And not going
so
to
that
church.
part of the armor comes
And you know
off.
what? I was thinking the other day, but Miss Terry, we have videos on TV so they don't have to come. But that's not true.
No.
The Bible says we're supposed to gather with other believers.
That's
It's
right.
great to do it at home when you're sick or anytime, but we are supposed to gather with other
So
believers.
come back as soon as your parents let you.
Yes.
So sometimes we're not doing the right thing. We're following the crowd. We're ganging up on people. We're maybe
Sin.
not telling the truth.
Yeah.
All of those 10 commandments that God has us do. And that's our next one is obeying God. A lot of times we think, God probably wouldn't want me to do that, but that's what I really want to do. So when we do that, that takes off another piece of our armor. Okay? So I'm going to put this,
Okay, so
Orange
this is just a regular
the
person
water.
with no faith, no God's armor.
that's right. So without the armor, it's getting all wet and it's just not,
Soaky, mushy.
it's going to be mushy.
It's going to
and,
sink in a little bit because it's going
Yeah.
to get.
and we're not going to want to eat it. But if we have our armor on, watch what this one does. It doesn't sink at all.
And you know what? You could take that armor and peel it off, and the inside would still be good.
Yep, and we can eat it. So, doing God's will, following his 10 commandments, reading our Bibles, going to Sunday school, going to worship, doing all those things helps us build up and keep our armor so that we can stay afloat and not sink when
Right.
things get hard.
And just remember that they get hard, and we all mess up.
Exactly.
So part of having faith is knowing that you can ask God for forgiveness, and He's always going to love you.
That's right. Yep. Because we all mess up.
Oh, my
every
gosh,
day.
yes.
Sometimes I mess up before I get out of bed because I have an ugly thought.
Right. And you when the times are really, really hard, and you really, really need that extra faith, you don't want to have ignored it for so long. And
That's right. You don't want to be without your armor.
Right.
So come on out to Sunday school. We will be there. We also are going to have Sunday school at 11:15 now. And we'll probably do that in the Discovery Zone at 11:15. At 9:45, it's in the classrooms, and the teachers are all ready for you to come, and we're all excited. So I hope that we see you soon. And until then, you can watch worship online.
That's right. And don't forget, put on your armor.
That's right. We love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.